All right, guys. Hello there. Thank you for tuning in today. This is our first audio only podcast, and we are the developers of our own opportunities, reinforcing success. Today, my friends, it's time to open some doors.
What's going on today, guys? So, what we're going to jump into is our key term, optiwism. You may be asking, what does optimism actually mean? Optimism is defined by the positive outlook in moving forward in every situation, as well as using your own knowledge, experiences, and good judgment to develop an idea, to build yourself in every sense, to become the best you that you can possibly be. And
Damn
this can
right.
be in a lot of different ways. I mean, you can go into many different ways, but this is the key to building a strong foundation. I
Mm-hmm.
think using your own situations and experiences to actually allow you to make the most out of each opportunity that presents itself during these times, especially right now with everything going on, like you're at home, these times are really hard.
Yeah.
There may be even people out there right now that are still working that's on top of the world right now. But
Them
just remember to
essentials.
always come into that optimistic approach and to be wise in your thoughts. And just, think about each decision that you're trying to make.
Exactly. And this is like a term that my brother came up with when we were focusing on doing some stuff about the podcast. Shout out to Connor Sternloff. That was in our second podcast. And optimism means a lot to us because it's a viewpoint of basically using your knowledge in a way to look at the perspective of different things in an optimistic point of view. That's why it's called Optiwisdom. But the reason why we're doing this topic at all in general is because like personally and I know Zach as well,
Mm-hmm.
we feel that it is essential to what is going on at the moment. I mean, if you look at the things that are going on around the world, the amount of people that this COVID-19 or the coronavirus is affecting, as well as how it is affecting everyone mentally, physically, I feel like we need something as of right now to at least move forward in our own lives, because I can tell you for the past, I ended up moving from Tennessee to Georgia for a few weeks to come be with my dad while this is all going on, and it's scary.
Yeah,
Like, I mean,
it really is,
number
man.
one, number one, going out and trying to make sure that we have groceries and different things as much as we can, and making sure that because there's 9 people at the house right now. It's we know people that are dying from this,
Yeah,
and number one, that's scary, but at the same time, this has not happened to anyone in our generation or the generation before
nope,
that or before
it
that.
hasn't
Of
yet.
course, they talk about the Spanish flu, which happened around 100 years ago, but
So crazy. It's almost exactly 100 years, exactly 100 years that something like this has happened. And I mean, do you think, Nick, that people during this time, like, it's really put things in perspective? Like, now it's like, okay, well, we're isolated now. Like, we're and I feel like a lot of people now, they're coming from a place of fear almost.
I mean, I'm scared. I mean, I like people. I think that it's something different. We've never had to deal with a situation, a scenario like this, and I think that honestly, it's it's put everyone in a state of like a real confusion. Um, I mean, like I get anxiety on the daily, or even just turmoil in my own head because I want to make sure that I'm staying productive. I want to make sure that I'm working on myself, but at the
Hmm.
same time, it's like goodness, this is all happening. I
Yeah.
think that number one, we don't know who to trust about what's coming out with what. There are people actually dying from this, and that we're trying to have a positive outlook, or even trying to stay on the right path so that we can come out of this better.
Yeah, I feel like one of the things that happens, and going back to what you're talking about, like, you can't trust anyone. Like, people, they want to know what's going on. Like, is this something that's really bad? Like, is this something that I need to be, prepared for my nest egg? And I feel really bad right now for the mom that's bartending, or the mom or just the person in general that's waitressing, or being a waiter. Those niche jobs like that, they have nothing to fall back on. It's
I mean,
it's literally their
it's
SOL.
I mean, and that's really scary. I mean, I've seen predicted numbers of 42 million Americans going to be unemployed, which is 32% of us, and that's the highest rate that's ever been. And that's, I think it's, no one was prepared for this. There's not, I don't think that our generation could have properly been, even if we had proper measures in place. Like, we'll go into it right now. Like, there is no quick fix for this. Like,
No, there's not.
I mean, if you look at what's going on, like, we could have done so much to better ourselves in this way, but in general, the problem is not the virus because it is a more deadly flu. The problem is us. It's people being negligent, people wanting to go do about their lives, and it's really. I mean, we have over 200,000 cases in the U.S. at the moment.
Well, and they're saying literally that we'll be doing okay if we only lose 240,000 people. That
That,
is 240,000 lives. Those are 240,000 different families that are going to be affected by this. You
and
know,
and that's really scary to think about. How can we come out of this in an optimistic way at all? But
exactly.
but
But I feel like you have to. You
I mean,
have to. You've
that's
got to be positive throughout this
yeah.
time, man, because it's going to break you down.
I think that we'll continue to go off of these positives and different things that we're talking about, but what's really, really important is to understand that this is happening and it's not going to stop unless we do our part and self-isolate and we focus on and like do our best to focus on us and stay inside and do these different things. And that's the only that's the optimistic part of this, and using that time to your advantage. I mean, one of the scariest things is we've talked about it multiple times in my grad school class, which is public opinion. Like, we don't know who to trust in that. Like, right now, my belief is that the best things that we can do is focus on the medical professionals, the technical experts about these different things, because we feel
People that
lost.
actually know what's going on.
Yeah, we,
Don't look too much into the media. Really look into like the experts, like you're saying.
yeah. I mean, we feel lost, and like that's something that's scary because we've never been through this. So a way to look positive through that. Like, one thing that I've been trying to do more is I have a planner, and I've been trying to make sure that I write everything down, and I'm making sure that, like, I at least set up my day in a way that allows me to really focus on, okay, I have these different steps I can take to do this. This is my life for the moment, so I'm gonna make the best out of it.
Hmm.
And, like, I mean, I'm lucky enough to have a home gym and to be very isolated from most of a really large population. I'm in the Georgian mountains at the moment, and I have the ability to stay a little bit more socially distant than a lot of people. And, like, a lot of people don't have these
Those tools
tools.
that they need. Yeah. I mean, it's really crazy, man, because a lot of people they're very lost in this time. They go on this program where they go back and forth to work for so long, and they come home and they cook, they clean, they go to bed, they get back up, and then the weekends are kind of free for them, but they never have a lot of time on their hands, I don't feel.
Yeah.
And now it's just like, okay, I have all this time. Like, what do I do with it?
Well, I mean, that's
I think,
exactly, you're jumping into, basically, people have been on autopilot for a very long time.
yeah, man, they really have. They get to this point where you don't really think about your life anymore. You don't push towards those dreams, those aspirations that you wanted when you were a child, or you were in college and you're growing up and you're being, you know, uh, you're prioritizing your time very well. And I think that's something we have to get back to. We've got to get to back to a point where we're no longer on autopilot. We are literally observers of our own life. We are turning this life that is in turn that we think that it just happens to us and there's nothing we can do about it. No, you take command of your own damn life.
Damn.
Like, get off autopilot, become more positive in your thoughts, and I think you'll go a long way.
And, like,
There's a lot of things that you can do with that, though.
I mean, I feel like I mean, I've been talking to a lot of people. One of the, like, there's a couple great things you can do out of this scenario, and that's, like, number one, like, I've been reaching out to a lot of friends and a lot of family members I haven't talked to consistently in a long time, and this gives us a time to do that. Of course, people are working from home. Of course, people are essentials too, and I'm very thankful for those individuals who are going through these rough times and still surviving it, or pushing their way to make sure that others can do it. Even if like fast food workers, grocery store workers, medical staff. We have our truck drivers. We have all these. There's so many more I can name, and if I had to name one of them, I'm sorry, but these people are essential, and we don't really focus on that. So one of the things that I would say to the people that care about you or you care about, and making sure that they're okay mentally, physically, whatever, just staying in touch with them, because everyone's having to, like almost everyone in the world at the moment is having to self-isolate themselves to make sure that that at least, like, it's not affecting a lot of our younger generation, but it harms the older generation and those people we care about too. We want to make sure that everyone, that we're limiting these cases, these risks, you know?
Yep. And that's why it's so important to be optimistic in these times. You know, because it is here. These things are happening, and it's not just going to go away. It's not something now that we can just sweep underneath the rug. And I think, you know, we get to a point where we need to take a step back and realize, okay, you know, I'm not working right now, or maybe you are.
Yeah.
What is important? What is important during this time? Like, if you knew for sure that tomorrow was it, and then that this life was going to be over, what would you want to be spending your time on? What makes you you? Like,
Yeah.
what when you think about your overall image, what do you want people to think about you? And I think this is a perspective that's actually being put on people now that they have, you know, this time on their hands.
Yeah.
And it's really hard for them to get away from this reality, because now they're seeing, well, maybe everything that I actually thought is
And
wrong.
I mean, like there's some, like, I've seen some really positive stuff come out of this too. Like, I've seen a lot of people developing podcasts. I've seen a lot of people live.
Yeah.
The communication between just humans at the moment to make sure that others and that people are staying in touch and okay is marvelous. It's really, really wonderful.
Well, man, and you know something that's really because really crazy is because, you know, I came across during I watched a church online on Sunday from my hometown, and it was really great, man. And so I wanted to share a verse with everyone, and it's from Psalms 91. I'm going to start at verse 6, and it's really going along with what's going on, and that's why it's so crazy that I came across this on Sunday, and I'm so thankful for it. But I'm going to start at verse 6, and it says, "You won't have to be afraid of sickness that attacks in the darkness. You won't have to fear the plague that destroys at noon. 1,000 may fall dead at your side, 10,000 may fall near your right hand, but no harm will come to you. You will see with your own eyes how God punishes sinful people. Suppose you say, 'The Lord is the one who keeps me safe.' Suppose you let the Most High God be like a home to you, then no harm will come to you."
Yeah.
And it's just so crazy, man, because no matter how long ago this was written, there was something going on then that they were already writing about.
Yeah.
And I think we're in one of those times where it's an awakening for
Yeah.
everyone. It's something where it's time to wake up and realize the harm that not only that we continue to do to our planet, but
I mean,
to each other. And not everyone like this, but you know, love your neighbor, love the person beside you, and just let's uplift.
and I think that's
everyone.
one of the most beautiful. Like, there's some really beautiful things that's come out of this. I mean, if you looked at the Italian canals, like fish, swans, and dolphins and different things are coming back through them. Like, there's a lot of less pollution in China. There's a whole things that, like, we're finally realizing that this is so much of a cause by the human race, as well as, like, I've come to the realization that, like, I have to make sure I'm using my time wisely during this. Like, I told you guys about my planner. I'm focusing on, I wake up, I make sure I do cleaning around the house. I make sure that I feel like I have a place that's organized and clean, and then I go do a workout. I go outside and focus on homework, or I reach out to somebody, or I read a book, or I just go and just sit outside and enjoy nature. And I feel like during this time is so essential to, like, come to understand who you really are, and that the things that really matter in your life, because like working a 9 to 5 job, or finding out that you don't love what you're doing, does, like, life is so short. We have so many people affected around the world. What really matters at the end of the day? Again, we were talking about what makes you special, what makes you you.
Exactly.
Like, utilize that. Like, we're not put on. Me and Zach talk about this consistently every time we see each other over the phone. We're not put on this fucking earth to just go to job, come
No, to be in
and
a
fucking
box.
die.
Hell no.
That's not being alive. You have to utilize who you are and build upon that, whether that be reading a book about some new hobby you're learning about. Right now I'm almost done with How to Win Friends and Influence People, and it talks about human relations and how communication can better your understanding of being even liked, or understand, and like through business ventures, all these different things. And like, I'm trying to better myself each day in some small way. It doesn't have to be something huge.
No, it doesn't. And I think that's where we get so wrapped up in it. We think that no matter what, it has to be this big jump. Like I have to do this thing that's just so extravagant. You're going to get to those big goals by thinking small. You think
I
small
mean,
and dream
we talk
big.
about it.
So those building blocks, like we were talking about on that
Exactly.
ladder of
Optiwism,
success,
man.
man,
Straight
get those,
Optiwism.
develop a good foundation. And during these times, especially, like you've been given a gift, like especially the people at home that are listening right now, take a step back. Like think about your life and what it is that you're doing right now. You know, really surround yourself with good material. Read some good books. Don't let all this trash TV like change your personality and stuff just because like you're at home and you're depressed and you're isolated and you feel like you're alone, because I promise
I
you, you're
mean,
not.
you
And
have,
there's something great out there for
number
every
one,
one
you
of
have,
us.
like, I would love for you to take this into account and just reach out to someone that you care about, especially if you're feeling lonely, especially if you're feeling scared about different things. Talk to someone about this, or even reach out to us. Like, you can go on there, send us a message. You can do it on our Instagram. Any way that we can help understand you're not alone through this, because I mean, we're talking about all this positivity and how to come out of this in a way that you feel great about it, at least, or feel better as the best you can. And I mean, we're both like I can definitely say that this is not something that's going to be easy, or and I'm scared. Like, I don't want my family
Yeah, man.
members to die. My mom has serious health issues, and luckily Canada's on complete lockdown. My grand my grandparents
Yep.
my
There's a
grandparents are
lot that
older.
are. Mhm.
Like, I would I would sit at home for the next year if I had to, just to make sure that they would be okay, so that maybe someday they could see my grandchildren, or they could see my brother graduate from college. Those things matter. Or I would do it for someone else's grandmother, the parents as well. Like, life is so important.
And I think now it's so funny that you have that perspective, Nick. You know, and everyone out there, I think you can really take something away. He's really, displaying his unconditional love for the people that's around him. And I think that's something that if we could wrap our heads around, you look at the ancient sages and you look at like Jesus and the people like that, they had unconditional love for the people around them. They wanted to lift them up. They wanted to make sure that not only that they were succeeding and that they were becoming a better person and that they were breaking through these limits, but not only that, but they were helping the people around them, because that's what it is. That's what it is. That's what it's
And man,
about.
guys, like, I'm honestly getting teared up right now, because like, I'm surrounded by family members at the moment. I know a lot of people aren't, and a lot of people are going through some really tough times. But like, everyone, like, I forget about this consistently. If you have, you guys, I'm gonna ask you a question. Have you guys ever been driving down the highway or driving down the road and just looked out your window and saw another person driving next to you, and realized that person has a whole life that I don't understand? They might have children,
Yep.
they have parents, they have their own circumstances they're going through, and I don't I don't want to be any part of a cause that has to do with any harm of another person's life, especially when you realize that their life is no more important than yours, and that everyone has their own creative genius inside them, and that this world is only this world because of the people that inhabit it. I really want to do my best to make sure that these people can do this, and I hope that everyone else is really practicing this isolation as well, because life is so precious. It's so, and we're realizing that all of our systems, our economies, the world is so flimsy.
Yep.
And that I really hope that we come out of this, and I know people are going to be so excited to go to school, so excited to be back in sports, so excited to just be outside in the gym, meeting up with their friends, going out to eat, and we
seeing
take
the
these
people you
things
love,
for
man. Like,
we take them for granted so much, and
yep.
like that's one of the realizations I've had through this podcast before this is even happening, is that every moment of my life is precious, and I like, my goal is to take something away from it, whether I did something wrong and I learned from it, or I did something right and I made someone happy. But our goal again is to understand that your life is precious, that other people's lives are precious, and we want to fully utilize that to the best capability we can. That's why we're called Doors. We're the developers of our own opportunities, and we reinforce our success.
Forcing success, yes. And guys, like, just think about this. We all have this little piece. Like, you can call it whatever you want. You can call it Tao. You can call it God. You can call it spiritual energy. You can call it whatever it is that you want. Buddha, God, Gandhi, Ra. You can call it whatever it is you want. But we all have this piece of intelligent energy, this piece of God that I 100% believe exists. Just because not only has he saved my life 1,000 times, I've watched him work in people's lives. I've watched him take the drug addict who everyone had given up on and change them into a sober person and a respectable person. I've seen them change the dictator businessman who cheats on his wife and snorts cocaine every day, turn into a rightful Christian. I've seen lots of things, and God is working. And for those people out there, I want to leave you all with just a verse. It's Peter chapter 4, verses 12 through 13, and it states, "Dear friends, do not be surprised at the fiery ordeal that has come on you to test you, as though something strange were happening to you. But rejoice inasmuch as you participate in the sufferings of Christ, so that you may be overjoyed when the glory is revealed." So, guys, there is a reason behind all this. There is a reason these things are happening. Just come from a place of gratitude. Keep your mind busy.
Exactly.
Keep your body busy. And most of all, feed your soul with good things.
I think Zach made a really good point, is that like this force of nature, this energy, this God, whatever it may be in your own life, it's working to basically push us forward in a sense. But that doesn't just happen. It happens out of forcing yourself to go through things that sometimes you don't always want to do, or these hurdles, these struggles, and
those uncomfortable situations that
this
really
is a very uncomfortable situation to be in. We're all stuck at home. We're not used to being surrounded by the people that we live with 24/7. We're not used to being this isolated, having to watch TV, doing different things. But it's, again, we have to make the best out of the situation, so the best out of the situation can come to us. Otherwise, we are, again, putting people in harm's way, putting loved ones in harm's way, putting that little girl's father that has health issues, and that she only has him. This is happening around the world. And at the end of the day, you do make a difference. Even if you think you're the smallest little speck of dust in this universe, you have a part to
remember,
play.
God.
And like right now that part is to focus on you. Use your this optimism that we've been talking about this entire time to bunker down, build yourself up into something that people come out of. You come out of isolation, people are like, who the fuck is that? Or even like, wow,
Yep.
I see that this person's been really, really trying to better themselves. Or you'll be so surprised at how much you can develop in this time. I don't know how much longer we're going to be stuck in isolation. It really depends on, again, we talked about it earlier. The problem is us, not the virus. The more people that we can keep home and isolated, the less people that are going to be affected.
Remember, guys, try to be positive throughout this time. I know it's hard. I know maybe like you're looking at your spouse or you're looking at your kids and you're like, oh my gosh, like can we just go back to normal? Take this time. Be appreciative for it. And remember, don't allow yourself to stay on that autopilot. Become an observer of your life and change the things that you want. Remember that when we're looking into this Optiwisdom, this is all about finding what makes you you. And I think this time, especially the people who's been isolated at home, take this time and meditate in the Word. Meditate on yourself and think about what it is that you actually truly want in life. And I promise that no matter what happens, you will feel much better coming out of it.
Like I've been really focusing on exactly what Zach's talking about. Like I spend little times in my day, like I feel lost sometimes. We talked about this again, but I spend little times in my day doing something that I didn't do before. I clean something different. I go out and read a book. I enjoy something. We just got some chickens and some ducks. I go say hi to them. I do something out of the ordinary so that at least I'm continuing to build upon myself, or focusing on different things like meditation or looking inwards, or always, again, reaching out to that person. I mean, these things don't seem that important in the long run, but they really do. And they mean a huge lot to those people that you're influencing.
Yeah, man. And just for everyone out there, I'm going to leave you with one last Bible verse, and then I think Nick and I are going to wrap everything up. But guys, if you are that person out there that's feeling lost right now, just know that you are not alone, and that if you ever need anything, the doors are here for you guys. Like I said, we want to help you guys develop your success as well. So this is going to be in 2 Corinthians, verse 4, chapter 16 through 18. Therefore, do not lose heart. Though outwardly we are wasting away, yet inwardly we are being renewed day by day. For our light and monetary troubles are achieving for us an external glory that far outweighs them all. So we fix our eyes not on what is seen, but on what is unseen. Since what is seen is temporary, but what is unseen is eternal. So remember, guys, you are not alone. God is with each and every one of you, and He is flooding your heart right now. And I can tell by the energy that I'm feeling, and I know Nicholas is feeling the very same way. We love each and every one of you, and if you're going through something, don't be afraid to reach out. Don't be afraid to contact that person that you want to talk to, or confront that situation that needs to be handled, because this is the time more than ever to get your clarity.
I just want to say thank you so much for tuning in to our first audio podcast, complete audio podcast. I really do hope exactly what Zach said is I really hope you make the most out of the situation times, and that we continue to build ourselves up in a way that we can come out of this better individual than we ever been before. When we focus on what really matters in our own lives and in the people that we care about's lives. And with that, guys, we are the developers of our own opportunities, reinforcing success. And thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of the Doors of Optiwisdom. If you guys want to go check out our Facebook page, it's lets.open.doors. Our Instagram is Let's Open Doors as well. Please feel free to send us a message, send us something positive that you're doing through this time, or even contact us if you have any fears.
Via our social media, our personal pages.
Fears, if you're feeling lonely, depressed, anxiety, anything like that, please
reach out. Don't be a recluse, because I promise there's people out there that no matter what you think that you're beautiful, and everyone deserves to know that.
Thank you guys so much, and we'll tune in with you guys next time.
Peace.
Do you know how to close it?